The massive alien ships came down from the sky like angry storm clouds, but these clouds were made of metal and death. The Vexstar fleet had found another world to destroy. Commander Vexville watched from his command chair as his ships surrounded the blue planet below. He felt nothing as he looked at the peaceful world that would soon become another conquest for his empire. The blue-skinned people living on this world were called the Kaleri. They had built beautiful cities with towers that reached toward the stars. Their children played in gardens filled with strange, colorful plants. Their artists created music that could make even stone hearts weep. But none of that mattered to Vex. All he saw were future slaves and resources to take. His communication officer, a thin creature with 4 arms, turned toward him with a cruel smile. "Commander, the aliens below are sending us messages. They want to surrender completely. They're offering us all their gold, their rare metals, even their most precious crystals. Everything they have." Vexville didn't even blink. His cold black eyes stayed focused on the planet below. "Tell them their offers mean nothing to us. The Vexstar Dominion doesn't want their gifts. We want them. Every single one of them will work in our mines until they die. That's their only value to us." The officer nodded and sent the message down to the planet. Within minutes, the response came back. The Kalari leaders were begging now. They promised to serve the Vexstar forever. They would give up their freedom, their culture, anything the aliens wanted. Just please, don't hurt their families. They're crying now, the officer reported with amusement. "The leaders are actually crying as they beg us to spare their children." "Pathetic," Dexville said. "Begin the harvesting. Target their power plants first. We want them alive but helpless." Down on the planet, the sky suddenly turned red as death rays began falling from space. The beautiful crystal towers that had stood for thousands of years crumbled into dust. Power plants exploded in bright flashes. The Kaleri people ran through their streets, screaming and looking for somewhere safe to hide. In the capital city, a young Kaleri woman named Yelena was trapped in an underground bunker. She was a communications expert, one of the few people who knew how to send messages across the stars. Her 6-fingered hands were shaking as she tried to get her equipment working. The bunker shook every few seconds as more explosions hit the city above. "Come on, work," she whispered to her machines. "Please work." Finally, her long-range transmitter came online. She could send one message before the power died completely. With tears running down her blue face, she spoke into the microphone. "This is Yelena, of the Kalari people. If anyone in the galaxy can hear this message, please help us. We are dying. We surrendered to the Vexter ships, but they don't care. They're killing everyone anyway. Our children are hiding in caves. Our cities are burning. We offered them everything we had, but they just want us dead or enslaved." She paused, hearing more explosions, getting closer to her bunker. "We were a peaceful people. We never hurt anyone. We just wanted to live our lives, raise our families, and maybe one day meet other people among the stars as friends. But now, the stars have brought us only death. If there is anyone out there who still believes in helping others, please. We are running out of time." Her message shot out into space at the speed of light, racing toward distant worlds. The first to receive it were the nearby civilized planets. The message arrived at the Council of Peaceful Worlds, the Galactic Trade Federation, and dozens of other governments. Each government official, who heard Yelena's plea, felt sad for about 5 minutes. Then they filed the message away and forgot about it. Everyone knew about the Vexstar Dominion. They were too strong, too cruel, and too dangerous to fight. Any world that tried to help the Kaleri would just become the next target. "It's tragic," the leaders told themselves, "but there's nothing we can do." But Yelena's message didn't stop at those civilized worlds. It kept traveling through space, getting weaker, but still moving. After many hours, it reached the edge of a solar system that most aliens avoided. This system had been marked with warnings in hundreds of dead languages. The warnings all said the same thing. Danger, Deathworld system, do not enter. In this forbidden system, orbiting a bright yellow star, was a small monitoring station. The humans who worked there had been watching and listening to the galaxy for years, learning about all the different alien peoples. They had heard many messages before, but never one quite like this. When Yelena's desperate plea reached their computers, everything changed. The age of human isolation was about to end, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Captain Jake Morrison had been having a perfectly normal Tuesday morning. He was sitting in his command chair at Outpost 7, drinking his third cup of black coffee and reading reports about alien trade routes. The 34-year-old officer had gotten used to the quiet life out here on the edge of human space. For 2 whole years, he'd been watching the galaxy through telescopes and listening devices, learning about all the different alien species, while Earth's politicians back home argued about what humanity should do next. The outpost was small, but important. Only 12 people lived here, floating in their metal home around a dead moon. Their job was simple: watch, listen, and report back to Earth. Don't make contact with aliens. Don't let anyone know humans exist. Just gather information and stay hidden. Jake was about to take another sip of coffee when Lieutenant Amy Brooks practically jumped out of her chair at the communications station. Amy was a smart 28-year-old woman who could speak 6 alien languages and understood their technology better than anyone else on the station. "Sir, you really need to see this right now," Amy called out. Her voice had a tone that Jake had never heard before. It was urgent, almost panicked. He immediately put down his coffee mug and walked over to her station. "What is it, Lieutenant?" Amy's fingers were flying across her control panel, bringing up displays and running translation programs. "We just received a distress signal from the Calari system. It's really bad, sir." The main screen lit up with a holographic display, showing the blue planet where the Calari lived, but something was terribly wrong with the picture. Jake could see dozens of alien warships surrounding the world like vultures. Bright flashes of light were hitting the planet's surface, and their computers were showing massive explosions in all the major cities. "Play the message," Jake ordered. Yelena's voice filled the room, translated into English by their computers. As Jake listened to her desperate plea for help, his hands slowly clenched into fists. He watched the tactical displays showing how the Vexstar ships were systematically destroying everything on the planet. Schools, hospitals, homes where families were hiding. Nothing was being spared. "How many people live on that planet?" Jake asked quietly. "About 2 billion, sir," Amy replied. "And according to our scans, the Vexstar aren't just killing them. They're capturing the survivors and loading them onto prison ships." Jake felt sick to his stomach. He'd been a soldier before, becoming a space officer, and he'd seen war before. But this wasn't war. This was just murder on a massive scale. "Sir, what should we do?" Amy asked. "Our orders from Earth Command are very clear. We're only supposed to observe and report. No contact with alien civilizations under any circumstances." Jake stared at the screen, showing the burning Calari cities. Children were dying down there while he stood safe in his space station, doing nothing. "How long until Admiral Williams gets here with the 7th Fleet?" he asked. Amy checked her computer. "The fleet is still 3 days away from our position, sir. They're on a patrol route near Jupiter." "But sir, even if they were here, our orders haven't changed. We're not supposed to interfere with alien affairs." "Not supposed to interfere?" Jake's voice was getting louder. "Amy, there are 2 billion people down there getting slaughtered, and we're worried about following rules." "Sir, I understand how you feel, but if we break the non-interference protocols, then what? We get in trouble with politicians back on Earth." Jake was pacing, now, his anger building. "Amy, get me Admiral Williams on the quantum communicator. I don't care if he's in the middle of a meeting with the president himself. Amy hesitated for just a moment, then started working on establishing the connection. It took almost an hour to reach the Admiral's flagship, but finally, the face of Admiral Robert Williams appeared on their main screen. Williams was a tough-looking man in his 50s, with gray hair and scars on his face from old battles. Behind him, Jake could see the bridge of the UES Defiant, the most powerful warship humanity had ever built. The ship was huge, bristling with weapons that could crack planets in half. "Captain Morrison," Williams said, his voice calm but serious. "I've already seen the reports about the Kalari situation. My intelligence officers have been monitoring the Vexstar fleet movements for the past 6 hours." "Sir, we have to do something," Jake said immediately. "These Vexstar aliens think they can just wipe out entire civilizations because no one will stop them." Williams nodded slowly. "Captain, I've been fighting bullies my whole life. First on Earth, now out here among the stars. These Vexstar remind me of every coward who ever picked on someone smaller than them." "But sir, what about our orders? The non-interference protocols?" Williams' expression grew cold and determined. "Son, those protocols were written by people who sit in comfortable offices and never had to watch innocent people die while they did nothing. Sometimes doing the right thing means breaking the rules." Jake felt a surge of relief and excitement. "So we're going to help them." "We're going to do more than help them," Williams replied. "We're going to show this galaxy what happens when you commit genocide in front of human beings. Prepare your station for communication relay duties, Captain. In 72 hours, humanity is going to introduce itself to the universe." The transmission ended, leaving Jake staring at the tactical display showing the dying Kalari world. Everything was about to change. The war room on the UES Defiant was buzzing like a beehive. Admiral Robert Williams stood at the center of a massive holographic table that showed everything they knew about the Vexstar fleet. Around him, his best officers were studying the enemy ships, looking for weaknesses and planning their attack. The room was filled with the quiet hum of computers and the soft voices of people who knew they were about to make history. Commander Lisa Hayes was the fleet's tactical officer, a brilliant woman who had spent her whole career studying how different species fought their wars. She pointed at the holographic displays showing Vexstar battleships and began explaining what they had learned. "Admiral, we've been watching how these aliens fight for the past 2 years. Every single battle they've ever fought follows the exact same pattern. They line up their ships in neat formations. Then they shoot plasma beams at each other from long distances. They keep shooting until one side's energy shields break down, and then the losing side surrenders." She pulled up video recordings of past Vexstar battles against other alien species. The Admiral and his staff watched as the alien ships danced around each other in space, firing pretty colored beams that looked more like a light show than actual combat. "It's like they're playing a video game," Hayes continued. "They never try to ram each other. They never use missiles or bullets. Just energy weapons against energy shields, over and over again." Colonel Rick Chen, the tough Marine commander who would lead the ground forces if needed, started laughing and shaking his head. "Are you serious? This is how they fight wars out. Here, it looks like a bunch of kids playing laser tag in their backyard." "That's exactly what it is," Admiral Williams replied, studying the tactical data. "These aliens think war is some kind of gentleman's sport with rules and proper behavior. They fire their energy weapons, wait politely for the other side to fire back, and nobody tries anything unexpected or brutal." Captain Tom Bradley, Williams' most trusted advisor, brought up another set of displays showing human weapons and technology. "Sir, our kinetic weapons are going to tear through their shields like they're made of paper. We've got railguns that fire chunks of metal at incredible speeds. We've got missiles that can change direction and hunt down targets. And if we really wanted to end this fast, Our nuclear weapons could turn their entire fleet into space dust in about 5 minutes. Williams held up his hand. No nuclear weapons, unless we absolutely have no other choice. We're going out there to stop a genocide, not to commit one ourselves. But these Vexstar bullies need to learn that humans don't fight fair when innocent. People are dying. The Admiral walked around the holographic table, looking at each of his officers. These were people he had served with for years, men and women who had proven themselves in combat and crisis. They were about to face an enemy that outnumbered them 2-1, but Williams had never felt more confident in his life. Listen carefully, everyone, Williams began. For the past 50 years, Earth has been watching this galaxy tear itself apart while following these so-called civilized rules of war. The aliens out here have forgotten what real combat looks like. They've turned warfare into a polite dance where nobody gets hurt too badly and everyone follows the rules. He paused and looked directly at Commander Hayes. How many ships do we have ready for battle? 18 heavy cruisers, 32 destroyers, and the Defiant, sir. That's 51 ships total against their 47 vessels. So we're almost evenly matched in numbers, Williams said. But they think their technology is superior to ours because their computers and energy weapons are more advanced. They have no idea what's coming. Colonel Chen grinned. Sir, humans have been fighting wars since we lived in caves. We've spent 10,000 years learning how to kill our enemies as efficiently as possible. These aliens have been playing games. Exactly, Williams replied. They're about to learn the difference between sport fighting and survival fighting. When we engage them, I want every ship to remember one thing. We're not here to play by their rules. We're here to win. Captain Bradley pulled up the final battle plans. All ships are loaded with kinetic ammunition. Our railguns are charged and ready. Fighter squadrons are prepared for close combat operations that these aliens have probably never seen before. Williams smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had found his prey. The Vexter had been terrorizing peaceful civilizations for decades because nobody was strong enough or willing enough to stop them. They think might makes right, and that mercy is weakness. He looked around the room at his officers one more time. Today, we show them what real might looks like, and we show them that sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is protect those who can't protect themselves. The holographic display showed their fleet moving toward the Kaleri system, where the Vexstar ships were still destroying cities and capturing civilians. In just a few hours, the galaxy would witness something it had never seen before. Humans at war. All ships report ready. Admiral Hayes announced. Williams nodded. Then let's go teach these bullies why Earth was quarantined. It wasn't to protect the galaxy from us. It was to protect us from becoming like them. The Vexstar fleet had been attacking the Kalari homeworld for 2 whole days. Commander Vexvel was feeling very satisfied with how things were going. His ships had destroyed most of the major cities, and his soldiers were loading thousands of blue-skinned prisoners onto transport ships. Soon, these Kaleri would be working in Vexstar mines until they died of exhaustion. Vexvel was standing on the bridge of his flagship, watching the planet burn below, when something impossible happened. Space itself began to crack open like broken glass. 18 enormous tiers appeared in the darkness, and through each tier came ships that looked nothing like anything in the Vexstar databases. The alien commanders stared at these new vessels with curiosity rather than fear. They looked like crude boxes made of dull gray metal. Compared to the sleek, living bioships of the Vexstar, these newcomers appeared primitive and ugly. Their hulls were covered with strange bumps and angular shapes that made no sense to Vexstar engineers. Unknown vessels. Vexvel transmitted over the communication channels. Identify yourselves immediately. For a moment, there was silence. Then a strong, confident voice responded in perfect Galactic Standard language. This is Admiral Robert Williams of the United Earth Navy. You will stop your attack on the Kalari people right now, and leave this star system immediately." The HFY's officers began laughing and pointing at the strange ships on their screens. Earth. They had never heard of any planet called Earth. These must be some backward species from the outer rim of the galaxy, probably still using chemical rockets and metal bullets. "Unknown species," Bexfell replied with amusement in his voice. "You are interfering with the legal operation of the Vexstar Dominion. These primitives belong to us now. Leave immediately, or we will destroy your pathetic ships." "Negative," came the calm response from Admiral Williams. "This is your last warning. Leave now." Bexfell couldn't help himself. He started laughing, so hard that his four-armed body shook. "Destroy them," he ordered his fleet. "Make it quick. I want to get back to harvesting these blue-skinned slaves." 47 Vexstar warships turned their weapons toward the human fleet. Their plasma cannons charged up with brilliant energy, creating a light show that could be seen from the planet's surface. All at once, they fired. Streams of superheated plasma raced through space toward the ugly metal ships. The energy beams hit the human vessels and just bounced off. The plasma scattered in all directions, like water hitting a stone wall. The human ships didn't even slow down. "What is this?" Dexval demanded, staring at his tactical displays. "Our weapons should have cut through those primitive holes like paper." His answer came in the form of chunks of metal flying through space faster than anything he had ever seen. The human ships had fired some kind of projectile weapons, but these weren't normal bullets. These metal slugs were moving at 30% of the speed of light, carrying more kinetic energy than a small asteroid. The first volley of kinetic rounds smashed into the Vexstar ships like invisible hammers. The energy shields that had protected them from plasma weapons did absolutely nothing against solid matter moving at incredible speeds. The metal slugs punched straight through the bioship hulls, tearing massive holes and causing explosions throughout the alien vessels. "Impossible," Dexful screamed as his flagship shook from multiple impacts. "Nothing can get through our shields. Our technology is superior." Admiral Williams' voice cut through the chaos on the communication channels. "Your shields are designed to stop energy weapons. We use kinetic weapons. Welcome to basic physics, Commander." But the metal bullets were just the beginning of the nightmare. The human ships began moving in ways that no civilized species would ever attempt. Instead of maintaining proper formation and fighting at a respectful distance, they were charging straight at the Vexstar vessels like wild animals. Captain Danny Bradley, commanding the destroyer, U.S. Relentless, did something that made every alien in the system gasp in shock. His ship accelerated directly toward a damaged Vexstar cruiser and rammed it at full speed. The reinforced nose of his ship punched straight through the bioship's center, cracking the alien vessel like an egg. The human ship emerged from the other side with barely a scratch on its armored hull. "This is insane," Vexvel's tactical officers shouted. "They're ramming our ships. They're using debris as weapons. Their fighter craft are deliberately trying to crash into us." All around the battlefield, human ships were doing things that violated every known rule of civilized warfare. They were using destroyed ship parts as projectiles. Their small fighter craft were flying suicide missions into Vexstar engine systems. Some human vessels were even grabbing damaged alien ships with mechanical arms and throwing them into other targets. "They're fighting like savage beasts," another Vexstar officer reported in terror. Like killers," Admiral Williams finished, his voice coming through their communication system. "You made a big mistake, Commander. You decided to commit genocide in front of human beings. We don't fight wars like your civilized species. We don't follow rules or worry about proper behavior. We fight to win, and we fight to protect innocent people." Vexville watched in horror as his mighty fleet was being torn apart by these impossible creatures from an unknown world. Half of his ships were already destroyed or crippled, and the humans hadn't lost a single vessel. "What are you?" he whispered. "We're humans," Williams replied. "And you just learned why our planet was quarantined. The galaxy wasn't protecting itself from us. It was protecting itself from having to face what real warfare looks like. 3 hours. That's all it took for the most powerful fleet in Vextar history to become floating scrap metal." Admiral Robert Williams stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking out at a battlefield that told an incredible story. 40 alien warships had attacked his smaller human fleet with confidence and arrogance. Now, most of those ships were destroyed, and the rest were sending desperate surrender messages over and over again. Not a single human ship had been lost. Not one. Williams watched as Captain Beth Peterson's marine transport ships began their descent toward the blue planet below. Peterson was a 29-year-old officer who had volunteered to lead the rescue mission. She had been a combat medic before becoming a space marine, which made her perfect for helping traumatized civilians who had just survived a genocide attempt. "Admiral," called out Lieutenant Amy Brooks from the communications station, "we're getting messages from all over the galaxy. I count transmissions from over 30 different alien species so far. They all want to know the same things. Who are we? Where did we come from? And how did we destroy the Vextar fleet so quickly?" Williams smiled and leaned back in his command chair. "Tell them we're humans from a planet called Earth, and tell them we really don't like bullies who pick on innocent people." Down on the planet's surface, Captain Peterson and her Marines were getting their first real look at the Kalari people. The blue-skinned aliens were slowly coming out of their hiding places, emerging from underground bunkers and collapsed buildings. Many of them were injured, and all of them looked terrified. The Kalari approached the human soldiers very carefully, obviously afraid that these new aliens might be just as dangerous as the Vextar. Peterson could see the fear in their large, dark eyes as they watched her Marines setting up medical stations and distributing food supplies. "We're here to help you," Peterson said through her translation device. "We have medical supplies, food, clean water, and protection. You're safe now. The bad aliens are gone." An elderly Kalari male, his blue skin marked with wrinkles and scars from the attack, stepped forward as the spokesperson for his group. His voice was shaking as he spoke. "But, why are you helping us? What do you want from us in return? Everyone in the galaxy knows that nothing is free. What will you demand as payment for saving our lives?" Peterson smiled warmly and handed him a container of emergency food rations. "We don't want anything from you. Nothing at all. Sometimes that's just what good neighbors do when they see someone in trouble." The old Kalari stared at the food container like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Around him, other Kalari were getting medical treatment from human doctors and receiving supplies from human soldiers. No one was asking for payment. No one was demanding anything in return. Meanwhile, up in space, Commander Thexfell was sitting in the ruins of his command center, surrounded by broken computers and dead crew members. His flagship was barely holding together, and he knew that the humans could have easily destroyed every Vextar ship if they had wanted to. Admiral Williams appeared on his damaged communication screen, looking calm and professional, despite having just won the most one-sided battle in galactic history. "You could have killed us all," Dexville said quietly, his voice filled with confusion. "Your weapons could have turned every one of our ships into dust. Why did you show mercy to people who showed no mercy to others?" Williams studied the alien commander for a moment before answering. "Because that's the difference between your species and ours, Commander. You think mercy is weakness? We know that real strength comes from choosing when and how to use your power. We came here to stop a genocide, not to commit one." As news of humanity's intervention spread across the galaxy at light speed, something amazing began to happen. Species that had been hiding from the Vextar Dominion for decades started talking to each other again. Planets that had lived in fear began to hope for the first time in years. Everyone wanted to know about these mysterious Deathworlders, who had appeared from nowhere to defend innocent people. Stories spread about the humans who fought like demons, but showed mercy to their defeated enemies. Tales were told about the warriors, who asked for nothing in return for their help. The Galactic Council, which had ignored Yelena's desperate plea for help, suddenly found themselves flooded with questions about humanity. Ambassador after ambassador demanded to know why Earth had been kept secret, why these powerful beings had been hidden away in their quarantine system. But the humans weren't interested in politics or power games. They were too busy helping the Kaleri rebuild their cities and heal their wounded. Human engineers worked alongside Kaleri construction crews to repair the damage. Human doctors treated injured civilians, while human teachers helped Kaleri children who had been traumatized by the attack. 6 months later, Admiral Williams was back on Earth, sitting in his office at Naval Command. He was writing his final report about humanity's first official contact with galactic civilization. The report would become one of the most important documents in human history. First contact mission completed successfully, he wrote. The galaxy now knows that humans exist, and they understand what we're capable of when innocent people are threatened. More importantly, they're learning that we can be trusted to use our power responsibly. He paused and looked out his window, at the blue sky of Earth, thinking about all the alien species out there among the stars. The Vexstar Dominion has agreed to free all their slaves and stop their expansion. Other aggressive species are reconsidering their policies, not because they fear human weapons, but because they respect human principles. Williams finished his report with a simple statement that would echo through history. Humanity has taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The galaxy is a safer place today,